So first sorrow, to play this really lyrically, poetically, you have to kind of come to grips with how you're shaping the lines. And I have some little ideas for you. Now, it's sighing down. It's very sad because he's falling down. He's coming down with steps, basically. The whole first section is pretty much sighing and sobbing, and you have to get that right away. And that comes out of that is falling down. Sobbing by leaning on that G. It's an FP, so you want to extract that G as if you're swimming through honey, so you don't get an attack, but you're pulling out of density. Pulling out of the density. So what I tend to do is pull the note toward myself as if I'm in the honey, but that 5 is deep into the honey and extracting it out. So I pull toward me, and I might find one spot on that G that gives me that. Gives you a little delay too, because if you have honey, you're going to have density and you're going to have resistance. So you need that resistance right away. So T. Now here you have the 4 chord of E minor. So you want to do that same lean less and then fall down under that. And then answer that because you're going back to the tonic E minor, so it's resolving. That's important to do. The left hand is like filling in the harmony for the melody there. I wouldn't think of it as a contrapuntal line. I'd think of it as just filling in 4 chord to 1 chord. 4 chord, 1 chord. It's called the subdominant chord. It's the 4 chord to the 1. So knowing the harmony, you know how you lean on a 4 chord and you pull back and resolve to a 1 chord, helps you lift your arm weight when you lean on the 4 and lift the arm weight on the 1. So lean on, let's lean on. Now a new idea. I would lean on that C and fall out of it. If you have repeated notes next to each other, you don't want them to sound exactly the same. They change color. So you're going toward that, and then you're falling down to there. And then you're going forward to your dominant of E minor, which is a B major chord. So you've got harmonic. The harmony tells you a bit, as well as the melody's contour, tells you where you're leaning and where you're resolving. You can see here I went to there, and then I trickled down to there. Now I'm giving a little bit more drive forward to the dominant note, which is part of B major, and then I fall away. So that kind of landscaping is really important. Kind of want to know what I'm doing. So beside extracting the honey when you start, which gives you that sobbing descent from that, you want to make sure you're not tapping your fingers up and down. You want to drag your fingers through the honey so you get longer lines, you get embedded into the density, and you get that beautiful singing tone that way. So I'm already thinking I'm embedded into this honey-filled piano keyboard, but I'm going deeper into the honey with that first note because I need the FP, that extracted. To there, go forward to the dominant, fall away, lean and drag across to the B, lean less, and there go forward to the dominant, curve around. So I'm always going to that dominant note. When you first hear that dominant measure, measure 7, that's a half cadence. And at the end, it goes to the full cadence in E minor. At the end, you have a little curve around, doing I'm done. Okay, so that's important. Now you've ended this first section where it just sighs down. So if it's sighing down, you don't want to startle the player, the listener, yourself, with the next section. The next one goes into C major. When it goes into C major just for 2 measures, and it's going to go back to E minor, you want to trickle in off which just preceded, which was the E minor. You're coming off the decay of the E minor. So you want to make sure you do that. Now, if you just play the right hand, You have a very long slur over many, many notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes. Okay, it's 8 notes with the pickup. So after you have this cadence that precedes part 2, you're doing dum, I'm done. Come in on that. Keep going with a crescendo to last. Because we want you to do there is come in on the C major and make a crescendo through the 8 notes, but continue the crescendo in the answer, the responsiveness that goes back to E minor, but at the end he wants you to pull back. So you have to decide, what are you doing? How much arm weight are you investing? In order to pull back, you have to more deepen the keys so that you have something left to do the diminuendo at the end of that phrase. It's very long. It's quite long. So you come in. Okay, now he has a canon where he has the idea of the beginning, which was that idea. It's coming back, and you're going to be overlapping that idea between your hands. That's a certain kind of counterpoint. But even though it's counterpoint, it's not going to be like Bach counterpoint. You're going to be dragging through the honey kind of counterpoint. So you don't start tapping your fingers. You start rolling through the honey, and you have the overlapping beginning idea. So after you came out of that cadence, which, as you know, it says somewhat slower in my score, where you had the second time, now we're back to the beginning idea. Quite beautiful how he does that. But you come in on the end of the decay, which was this, and it had a little bit of ritenuto. Now you go back to tempo. Now you're back home. Less lean, less. Now suddenly we have this agitated ending. Don't get slower because it's going to be a repeat. Back to C major. Keep the crescendo to here. Tempo. Ritenuto there. Lean less, lean less. Suddenly, a little bit slower. Can't do too much ritardando at the end because the piece is sort of, you've got that feeling of the sighing down, and you're not going to go da-dum. You're going to have the movement within that. So that second part is kind of tricky because you can start doing fingers up and down and tapping them. That's another thing. And you have more voices, kind of an under voice there. You have to be really careful about dragging your fingers. I'll go slowly. I'm going slowly. See, I'm pushing into the honey. And I'm getting bigger here because I have to get softer here. I'm coming in. Here's that theme. Hands are together now. That's slow motion practicing. Slow motion practicing can be very effective if you do have the density, you know the phrasing, you know where you're going deeper into the keys with more leveraged arm weight, where you're lifting it, that you're not poking around up and down. There's lots of things to consider. Now the other thing about this upbeat has to go somewhere. It has to go to there. This has to go there and continue. Basically you have a springboard upbeat here. To there and to there, continue to the cadence. That's important because this can become an orphan E. Where's it going? It seems like, oh, It's an E, and then it goes to two chords with accents on them, but it belongs to those two chords because it's springing with an upbeat into them. So the ending is sort of like a codetta where you add something else that we didn't expect. It's like he's very agitated, he's very frustrated with whatever the sorrow is about. So you have to shift gears, but you want to make sure that this is going to there now, to there, and continue to the end. Then it comes back. Continue your crescendo because you get softer then. Down tempo. Make a little dom ritornello. Lean less. Da-yum, bum, da-yum, bum, bum, bum. So I get slower at the end a little bit, not too much.